Well, I'll tell you one thing. Um, you know how like every time there's a new Smash Brothers, there's a new threat, whether it be the Master Hand or Taboo showing
Or
up,
pedophiles.
whatever the threat might be.
Whatever the
Include
threat may be.
some threats are much more threatening than others.
Yeah.
The auras may create a vibe.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anyone could have predicted just a panda bear has attacked the cast of Smash Brothers and is violently ripping them apart as we speak. Never,
Pandas aren't the most violent creatures, so it was kind of surprising.
you'd think that I thought they were peaceful, but it turns out that a panda has just decided to fucking take on all the
You
space
know,
animals,
come to think of it,
princesses, and heroes of the video game world.
I just realized pandas are an absolutely incredible animal to be associated with Smash Brothers because they roll around and reek like piss, and they're also really negligent in letting their kids getting taken away from them for food.
Yeah, but pandas also really don't like to fuck.
Unless they're covered in piss. That's actually that was the big discovery, by the way. Why pandas couldn't like
Really?
wouldn't do it in captivity? It's because they want to piss all over each other.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
it's true.
I've never heard that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways. Um, this week there's been a pretty fucking ridiculous series of events that has basically been capped off with more or less as of today. We'll start with the end of the story. The end of the
Yeah.
story is Panda Global, the esports company, has
Christ,
announced
that sounds evil, by the way. Panning global at the end of your company.
the esports company has had its CEO, Dr. Allen, has stepped down, and they've postponed the Panda Cup, which was an upcoming Smash event. Now, that followed a series of essentially just really, really awful stories coming out where um, there was a Smash World Tour, and
Hmm.
my understanding, I might get details wrong, of course, but there was a Smash World Tour that was it happened last year and was scheduled to happen again this year. The idea, though, of course, is that Nintendo needs to give the license to operate to any
The
Smash
blessing, as
tournaments.
it were.
Yes, so it's Smash and Nintendo and the community has always been troubled because Nintendo's been fucking bullshit about that in the past ever since Evo 2013,
Hmm.
where Nintendo was like, no, you can't run your your Smash tournament. Uh, to fighting game tournaments, that shit's ridiculous because it's like they've been grassroots from day one, and
Hmm.
the parts where the company gets involved have always been optional, preferable, but still optional. Fans of the game can get together and play them in tournament contexts.
Hmm.
And if a company says, hey, we're going to sponsor this event because it helps sell copies of our game, it looks really good when people are excited about playing our game, and a lot of people tune in to watch streams of our game,
Hmm.
it's generally considered a good thing. But for Nintendo, that's the worst thing in the world, of course, because we hate you and we
Yeah.
despise that you've purchased our game. So all this fast forwards to a situation where, in order to do Smash tournaments out of a certain size and caliber, you got to get the approval. So Smash World Tour was working on getting that approval, and it seems as if they were told by Nintendo that it would happen, even though they ran unofficially the first time. They would be
Hmm.
able to get an official approval, then allowing them to have a series of tournaments be qualifiers for a major final.
And that'd be nice.
And that'd be
That'd be great.
nice. Which, of course, all the sponsored players and such in the community can have a big old series that they can follow over the course of a season. It's always pretty hype, and then you have the big
Hmm.
pop off. So it turns out that Panda Global also has been planning a Panda tour, which is more or less the same kind of idea. It was going to be a Smash series of a season up to the finale. And the problem was they seemed to be unhappy, particularly Dr. Allen, the CEO, was unhappy with the idea of there being other tours happening for Smash at
Yeah,
the
we want to
same
be the only
time.
one. That makes sense.
And so them working with Nintendo on a contract to broadcast and such, they were trying to get exclusivity rights.
Right.
So the World Tour folks were kind of being assured by Nintendo that like it's fine, they can both do whatever.
No,
But
we're cool. Don't worry about it.
but Panda was trying to make it so that only Panda Tour would exist.
Right.
And in order to facilitate that, they started to intimidate other tournaments that were happening, including the smaller events that would be stepping stones along the way to the finale. They tried to
Mm-hmm.
force those to join their tour instead.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that was already signed up or had planned for multiple events or for the tour was, they're essentially being told that like they would not be allowed and that they'd be blackballed and such. There was a similar thing going down with the streamer that was going to run and broadcast the stream. They tried to force them to join the Panda Tour instead. Essentially, it's a series of just shitty ass fucking decisions from the CEO, who tried to make it so that only Panda's tour could exist and that anything else that was happening that was affiliated with the Smash World Tour would be shut down by Nintendo. They were speaking as if they were officially representing Nintendo and threatening that that would happen. And were trying to even merge with the Smash World Tour and get them to join as well. Smash World Tour didn't want to do that, so it seems as if the bullying tactics and such were able to pay off in such a way where Panda then did get. There's still a conflict between what Nintendo's saying and what's happening, but it sounds as if Nintendo was then listened to Panda and forced the license to be exclusive. And with that, their connection with the World Tour's connection with Nintendo then told them that they would not be getting the license, and that without that they would have to shut down. They could not run their events. It became a messy situation where Nintendo's update to the situation became, no, you don't have to. No, it's up to the World Tour if they want to shut down or not. We didn't say that, but that is being pushed back by the World Tour folks, who are saying we have it in writing and verbally that they did say that we would have to shut down. So that has led to the biggest Smash event of the season being canceled. Lots of players being, with 2 weeks to go, almost practically waiting on this information coming through. They've all shut down. And this has, of course, led to Panda, which is also a sponsor for many, many players in Smash, as well as outside of Smash and fighting games as a whole. 80% of their sponsored players have said, fuck that shit, and have walked away.
Good for them.
And you have, no longer want to be represented by that. In response, Panda has then said the CEO has stepped down and is now saying the things that we've.
Isn't he still a majority owner of that
updated.
company, regardless of not being a CEO? So it's totally meaningless if he steps down or not.
I mean, probably. If you're talking about, like, is he still going to make money off of it? That's very likely. If someone steps down in that case, it's also like, are they still part of the company or not? And who in this case, who knows? But they're doing the damage control in the interim. Whatever, a crisis team is figuring out the rest of it, but it's too late. And there's been a lot of talk about what to happen from here. I want to say Ludwig, the popular streamer, has announced a sort of replacement tournament for people, but also some of the players are asking that like maybe Nintendo can give the rights again to the World Tour. Either the Panda event is now canceled as well, so the whole thing is all a fucking mess. And that's what you get when someone who has power and the ability to coerce can get right in the ear of a company like Nintendo and then Nintendo is going to support that stupid shit, and they've been practically hostile to the scene over the years. So this is just all the goodwill that's been built up since 2013 towards like, hey, no, we actually kind of care, out the window. Fuck that. Fuck you. We hate that you bought our game.
I have to say that I'm gonna put my Smash jokes aside.
I apologize if I've gotten any of that wrong, by the way. I did my best.
I read through it myself. You seem to have gotten the gist of it. It's complex. I have to say, putting all stinky pedo jokes aside for a second, Nintendo has been very actively hostile to its own fighting game community for literally forever. And every time some kind of progress is made on that front, there is some kind of massive disaster associated with that community that torpedoes the shit out of it. Like after this, after like a bunch of wheeling and dealing and intimidation leads to every single tournament being shut down, like what fucking incentive is there to support these in the future?
I just can't help but think like because of the nature of Nintendo too, like the fact that they'll pursue you and shut you down if you try to do anything without their blessing. That's such a draconian ass level that other fighting games don't have to deal with, because when it comes to getting officially recognized, sponsored, supported, whatever the fucking case might be, the choice should be grassroots or corporate, right? That's what it should be. It should not have to be, you are not allowed to take the thing you bought and walk into a room with other people who have the thing that they bought and play the game together, which is ostensibly what's happening when it comes to these tournaments being denied.
It's always actually not been whether or not you can play the game together, because that's obvious fair use and
broadcast.
It's broadcast, and it's whether or not you can make money doing it.
Yeah, sure.
I have to say, I think you're right. You shouldn't have to deal with that. However, here's the thing: if we teleport into Harada's office right now, and he's like, I would like to watch some Tekken videos of some players playing Tekken, right? He would watch some matches, right? However, if we teleported over to Japan or maybe even the US and see, like, let's say Doug Bowser's office, and he's like, I would like to look at Smash Brothers, and the first result is Smash Rage Controller Destruction compilation comes up, and he's like, the fuck is this? No. And the first news story is scumbag company screws over everyone about Smash Brothers tournament, and then the story after that is which of your favorite Smash Brothers player tried to kill people at an event with super COVID, and then the story after that is adult man playing video games for a living throwing a tantrum because his controller isn't broken in the right way, and the story after that is yet another child abuse scandal in the Smash community, and the story after that is, hey, we're modifying your game in a way that makes your company really uncomfortable, and we're going to play that at a tournament for money. And then the story after, like, every time there's any attempt from Nintendo to fucking, hey, maybe we're gonna do it, something happens.
Sure. Yeah, there is a long and fucking gross, shitty series of garbage events that pop off in the community over the course of its history, and you know, if you can extrapolate, I'm sure every community has its like shitty fucking moments and anti-heroes and criminals and fucking all of that. Smash in particular has had a very bad run. And fighting games have also had the whole thuggery, fucking core values, all that shit. So there's a bit of a stink and frown on the FTC from back in the day that it takes forever to wash off. And all you can really do is, if you're trying to run an event for just normal, not criminals, to have fun with the game they like, you just have to put your head down and put the work in, right? And you want to rehabilitate image. You can't control the images of people that you don't control. You can control your image and what you put out there. So by trying to run events that are just good and fun for the people who want to show up, so be it. That's what you can hope for. But if Nintendo is looking at this and going like, this is too toxic a community or a group, or in general, we don't want to associate with these types of things because they do things that are not Nintendo friendly, and we don't want to have that be linked to us in any way or whatever. Okay, right? There could have been a time when, you know, other fighting games, like there could have been a time when Capcom would be like, oh, we don't want to associate, like whatever. If the company doesn't want to be part of the community, essentially, then fuck off, right? Then fuck off and don't support it, and then continue to be radio silent on it. And when the game comes out or whatever, just pay no mind and give no shits about anything competitively. Don't try to edge in with some money every once in a while to maybe support. No, just completely fuck off. And with that, fucking off means not coming back to tell people, hey, you are not allowed to play our game on stream, period, ever, at all, unless we give you the okay to. Because, of course, if you run a tournament in a room, like, again, the broadcast rights of having multiple people in a room showing off their game. Nintendo's not shutting down individual streamers who are playing their copy and streaming it, of course. So this whole thing of, like, when a tournament gets with people getting together to play it in the way they want to, get special attention. No, if you don't want to support your community, fuck the fuck off, like, completely, and leave it alone to be grassroots, and then that's it. The players will do it themselves.
Here's where the other side of this, right? So I started off saying, hey, maybe it's, you know, scandalized, right? Coming from the community side, right? It happens. But then on the other side, the gentleman or gentlewoman who's sitting there going, hey, should I sign this document that gives people broadcast rights for the Smash thing? Across from them, one desk over, is the Pokemon guy who says, if you say Nuzlocke to me, I'll fucking kill you.
Precisely. We just finished covering a story a couple weeks ago about how insane they are when they're like, what do you mean you're doing a single player modified rule run of you're going to promote our game using unofficial rule sets? Are you modified? No. Just the player themselves is choosing to play the game a certain way. How fucking dare you? The level of insanity and dinosaur brain it takes to be that out of touch, right? Fast forward to if just fucking Callisto Protocol saying, "Don't you dare play this single player game unintended in any way that would violate our." It's so crazy. It's so crazy. So, like, that level, exactly. Dinosaur brain is in check. So these are the same brains that have to then now look and decide whether or not people playing their game in a promotional manner is going to be good for the brand.
Do you remember when Bowsette was like the most popular thing that had literally ever happened on social media, and the only word back from Nintendo is like, please stop? Please do not make sexy Bowser. It would be it's disrespectful.
We hate you for buying our game. Fuck off. Stop it. Leave us alone. Go play it in some corner somewhere, hopefully on Wi-Fi. In fact, there's no other choice. And don't you dare try to have fun with your friends. Don't you dare try to have a community. Don't just, like, as shitty and as dumb and as fucking, like, just greedy asshole as Dr. Allen has been as the Panda CEO with this story, the fact that the second step is, and then he whispered in Nintendo's ear and they listened.
Oh yeah, no, they
is the part, right? Because if this type of shit happens and then Nintendo says, no, you can go on, and then everyone finds out about what was happening with the Panda shit, then they go, okay, well, fuck that tournament. We're not going to support that. Fuck these people. And you know what? Grifters have showed up in the fighting game community before and have tried to run shitty-ass grifter tournaments. They've happened locally in Montreal.
Dude, the money is totally there. Trust me.
Right. Like,
the money is totally real.
I mean, we have laughed at tournaments that have popped up at fucking Casual Sport where some dude is like, oh yes, the Montreal Street Fighter, just like some nonsense dude that's just like, okay, so You're going to run this on what setup? Where's the setup? Okay, cool. And hand you the money now and then show up later to the tournament that does the location know that an event is running here? They seem to not be too aware of what you're talking about here, Facebook man. Like, there's been grifters that have showed up in the fighting game tournament space for years that have tried to capitalize, get some money, and get out on a quick buck because it's easy, because people are used to showing up, dropping some money, playing a game, and then that's it, you know? Of course,
all
those
you
people
have to do is take the pot and like run out the door.
Quite
Like,
literally. Quite literally. And it's you know, and again, when you're talking grassroots, you're talking in many cases a very just simple more or less honor system people are running with. You know, something gets a bit more complicated and a bit more professional, like the World Tour. You get broadcasters in, you get pot bonuses, you get large amounts of things to figure out. But at the end of the day, like, they ran that unofficially in the past, and you can do that, and you should be able to do that with your games. When one fucking company gets enough influence, even as an esports team, to come in and whisper and shut down anything else that the players are doing themselves, that's horseshit. That's on Nintendo. So, you know, Panda's players walked away and they're fucking suffering the consequences of that shit. Good, fine. But like Nintendo and the having their hand in this and forcing this stupid fucking system is never going to go away. It's always going to be a problem, unless, you know, again, they fuck off.
Nintendo absolutely created the climate for this type of situation. Every time you have some kind of license, some exclusive license, all of a sudden everybody starts to come out and be a dirtbag piece of fucking shit to try and get that exclusive license.
You know, and like, it just happens that like this is the type of event where it's not just about our big event versus yours. It's we also have to try and lure over smaller tournaments. So a bunch of smaller events have to hear from you as you try to fucking you know, beckon them over, and then when you say no, they try to force it, and then, you know, oh, the other thing, you know, you get to hear the story.
You're describing Smash really well, actually. You're trying to lure the younger, smaller tournaments to your house, and then if they don't like it, you try and force them. That is very Smash.
And then when you can't get your way, you go to Nintendo and force them to what?
It breaks down right there.
It immediately breaks down because yes, but ultimately, yeah, man, that's the part where Nintendo's actually listening, you know, is just so fucking annoying. Because you should just have, well, that's where I was going with this is, as grifters come and grifters go, you can't ever show up again in the FGC after you've run a scam, because people will see your name and go, oh, that fucking guy, don't go to that event. Fuck no.
And depending on what community you grifted, they'll beat your ass.
You know, so that's supposed to happen here. Everyone is supposed to find out and then go, nope, we're not going to do this anymore, and peace out. And then at the end, Panda just goes the way of other esports teams that have died.
Yeah. Esports is rife with scam.
Long live Empire Arcadia.
Like, esports in general is just rife with scam.
It's a young new thing that's run by a bunch of young new people, and they are like ripe for the oldest scams in the book because they're experiencing them for the first time. You know? Now what
everybody has their first time with a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. Now what's supposed to happen is NFL, NBA, or MLB star is supposed to catch wind from one of their money people that it's time to buy an esports team or create one, because that's the best way to make a ton of money on the side, alongside other hustles and scams going on. And so they're supposed to go and invest heavily and create a team, and then completely ignore it because no one knows what they're doing. And then after doing some tryouts and completely failing to find any talent, or maybe swaying one person over with nothing on paper, but just sweet nothings in the ear, a verbal deal and a handshake, and a Steve Ditko style, we're going to take care of you. um, you know, where you're supposed to then hear about how, yeah, that fucking company shut the fuck down, and then all the money went away, and the players that signed up with them found out when you did, as this story is breaking. That's supposed to happen. That's the way it's supposed to go, you know? The part where they get to fucking come in and set the community on fire and burn it to the ground as they shit themselves and then leave is not supposed to happen.
Well, I mean, at least luckily in this particular case, when they shit themselves, no one would notice.
So yeah,
because of the smell.
Of course. I like how you said that you were gonna put it aside, and then
I did, and then I stopped.
fell.
I put it aside to make my point, and then I locked it back in.
Yes, you cannot resist.
I can't. It's a problem.
What else is a problem?
What I'll tell you what else is a problem.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah.
Did you know that at some event some guy snuck in a dead lobster in his pocket and was able to watch an entire tournament without being noticed so that he could throw it up onto the stage? Do you know how fucking disgusting a fucking dead lobster smells and no one even noticed? It was a crab? Whatever. They're fucking gross.
I've said this before, but like to unsandbag for the slightest, briefest second here, to open up the sandbag for just a moment.
Okay, yeah.
I am pretty sure, I don't know how to describe it, but the subject matter of Smash Brothers is why these things happen. Like, the subject matter of a game brings out a fan base. Yes.
I remember. So there's an old clip from some fighting game show in which Mike Ross is like trying not to cry laughing at, oh, you guys don't have casuals, huh? You don't have casuals? What do you got? Oh, we have friendlies. And like he's like about to cry. He's laughing so hard because it's so fucking cringe. It's like all that. It's like I just saw somebody say Mike Ross.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
yeah.
of course, yeah. Mike Ross has been a thing. Yes,
I did not know that.
But like it's because it's like you take, and it is what it is. I mean, every game has its fan base, and fan bases are going to be a certain thing for whatever. Anime games are going to anime. Fate's going to fate. Tekken's gonna Tekken. Whatever you're into, the people that show up are, gonna be like that. So when it comes to Smash, like, I think you're kind of getting like, if you look at, like it's a broad collection of highly popular, massive video game childhood characters.
The skews younger and has a culture of at your house with your buddies.
Exactly, and it skews younger at your house with your buddies, and it's like roster and a theme and an overall world that is gonna be right there next to people who go crazy with Sonic fandom. You know what I mean? Like it's that same younger, just more cringy kind of crazy. So a lot of that like just coalesces so that like. You put there's going to be Venn diagrams in different communities of different types of people. But this one, because of the subject matter, is going to bring in the most of that. And with that energy comes shit like fucking immaturity, hygiene problems. And as you described, like the insanity of the whole fucking sex criminal, pedophile, weird shit that was going on. And all of that, unfortunately, comes linked with the subject matter. I'm trying to put words to this.
Because Smash is like so wholesome and like kid-friendly characters, and it's very happy and very chill, and like despite being fighting, it's not like violent, right? It opens up this door for this community level of am I really so toxic? Ooh woo, fucking wholesome mask for complete pieces of fucking shit. You know the type that are like. oh man, let's all be real positive while I talk just the most insane shit you've ever heard behind your back. Ooh, woo.
Sure.
Tee
Yeah.
hee.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you've got to like
Committing
if
crimes in like a cute Kirby outfit.
right, right.
Shit.
So like, and if you're like a normal person and you're trying to like, do your best to kind of like thrive in these surroundings, you're gonna have to do so despite all that weird energy around you, right? Like
Mhm.
for all the criminal shit discussed or whatever, there's tons of just weird moments that people have had that are just like, what? Why would someone do?
Yeah.
So like, and
Yeah.
it's just a fucking subject matter thing. And if it were not that, if it were like not these IPs that are childhood friendly, beloved Nintendo fan, Pokemon has a bit of that too when you get to the crazier levels of people's, behavior
Yeah.
with it.
Oh, my favorite's
If it were
Animal
not,
Crossing.
yeah,
Animal Crossing is like the most wholesome childlike game in the fucking world, and then hey, what's going on in the Animal Crossing community? Oh, people are talking about how to like design like ugly villager ghettos in order to get them out of their town,
sure,
and
sure.
and all that shit, and it's like, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ, you fucking psychos.
it overlaps probably with like somewhere in their brony culture, but like specifically the types that were like, I didn't understand this war crime photo until somebody put
Oh,
Rainbow
stop
Dash
it!
in
I
it.
hate it! I hate it!
But but like this is the type of thing that just has this is why this gets to the core of why, like I like the bit. I'm opening the sandbag because I'm like, the bit has a reason that's identifiable, and it's just it's because that overlap of fandom is strongest there, and other random fighting games with punch men and punch girls beating up each other doesn't bring that energy.
Yeah, so like if I want, I'm gonna drill it down to the absolute most like obvious example, right? And I think you can follow me on this. Let's take stick throwing and controller smashing, right? Some people get fucking pissed and they toss their gear. This happens in pro sports with helmets and sticks. This happens in your traditional fighting games. I mean, there's that great clip of fucking Rico getting Sanford to just trash his fucking
Oh
stick on
yeah,
the floor.
the fresh
Like,
maker.
right? Gutex threw his stick that one time, etc. Right?
That's I don't even
Shut
know.
up.
I don't.
Shut up. Don't know. Okay, it's a whole fucking
Pretty
thing,
sure
right?
that never happened. But fine. Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. Like he might as well have at this point. Go on.
Okay, so right, it happens. However, in Smash, there is a crazy, crazy amount of GameCube controllers spiked into the dirt and destroyed. Like it's a whole nother level. It's a whole order of magnitude. And the only way that I can understand that happening is the beginnings of that game's competitive culture are different. When you're at the arcade and you're playing Street Fighter 2 or Marvel or whatever, and you are so pissed off you could smash something, what would you try and do? I saw a guy do it once to an MK machine. He hit the machine.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone around him rose up and was ready to choke him out because we're going to play on that in a second, you dumbass. That's
Mm-hmm.
everybody's machine. So what do you learn? You learn not to do that, right? It happens. Some people do it, but it's not a common occurrence, and people make fun of it, even if it didn't really happen. Like with Gutex, right?
Yeah.
Then you go to Smash, and where does most of that beginning of that culture happen? In your basement with your friend, and the only one to judge you is your friend, and you're spiking your own controller.
Yeah.
And you do that until you leave to go to the tournament.
Now, admittedly, this happens with any game that you are. This can happen with any game you're playing in your basement, you know. And the fucking
Smash this keyboard. Throw
keyboard
this mouse.
smashers and mouse tossers exactly are not uncommon in that way, certainly. But I think the whole skews young bit is really, really, a major part there too, because yeah, man, fucking of course this Mario game is going to be played by teenagers and such, and in a game like Marvel, when a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old shows up and is super good, and you're like, oh fuck, Noah,
That's crazy.
the prodigy's here. That's an exception, you know. And then there's going to be young but really good fight players that like make a name for themselves and shit. But or like, you know, CJ and stuff. But like in this case, that age is just the norm, you know, and it means that like what's normal is that younger teenage. So then the exceptions become, oh, that 8-year-old is really good at chain grabbing.
Yeah.
You know, that 8-year-old is insane with ice climbers.
That's
right?
crazy. And then his 30-year-old opponent got so mad that he stood up and threw equipment and broke it and scared the child.
But also, when that child loses and cries because they're 8, it's not an unexpected sight.
Children
certainly,
cry.
You know. So a lot of anyway. So it's a weird coalescing of factors that unfortunately, you know, have everything to do with what it is. And I guess the fact that it's a premier Nintendo fighting game, that you know, anything premier Nintendo is going to have this kind of attention on it. This happens to just overlap with FGC, so whatever. That's what I think is that's my diagnosis of the situation. That's my prognosis as Doctor Fighting Games. Anyways, in whatever, there's a whole other thing to be described about that the norm becoming something where, well, that if that 8-year-old plays for the next 10 years, that 8-year-old becomes 18 and might not change their behavior that much, you know.
Yeah, it just happened.
That's a whole other fucking, you know, inference that is ad hom. But anyways,
the only benefit here is that eventually Melee will die. They're not making CRTs anymore. It's gonna it's gonna go. It has a life cycle. And eventually the game's gonna get too old for the average Melee fan to be interested in it anymore.
I mean, Ultimate, you know, still being the thing it's got everybody in it, and it's the big thing. Like, that's gonna be popular for a very, very long time. I hope that there's a couple update ways the story can update. We can update it by hearing Nintendo says, change our minds, actually. Here, they can do it. Again, the conflict is unclear because Nintendo says, nah, they can, you know, he said, like, whatever, he says, she said. But if we get the update that they can go forward, that'd be great, especially considering the Panda Tour is not happening anymore, period. But the other way to go about this is to, you know, completely not have to deal with this in any way. Like, if other events can run unlicensed, just we're doing it ourselves, and Nintendo doesn't approve but actively doesn't pursue and shut down, then that would be great. And I know that they're not treating every sized event that way, you know, like in this case the major ones are going to get the most scrutiny and attention, but like with this goodwill being fucking roasted and shit on, you want to hope the players can just fucking get together and do their own thing. Like any other fighting game could. Because if at the end of the day, if Capcom said, we hate you, if, you know, SNK said, we hate you, if Bandai said, we hate you, and we don't care about what you're doing as a community, then cool. We'll keep doing it like Battle by the Bay.
So, I feel like that's slightly different. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass because it's a gut feeling. But I feel like if Capcom said stop it, the response would be if it's a crime to play Capcom games, then only criminals will have Capcom tournaments. At which point there will just be like we're playing Street Fighter 6 on a fucking island in the middle of the Pacific.
Oh, make no mistake, we will shit on those companies till the cows come home. They will be fucking done. As far as at least community outreach and having a goodwill with the people that are buying your shit goes. But people will still get together and play them.
Yeah.
And you can't stop that.
No, you can't.
So That's the way I feel about it. You know, when I grabbed my Xbox, went down to fucking Cine Express, and said, "Hey guys, I'm doing a Street Fighter tournament. Who wants to come play?" I didn't have to run any approvals by anybody.
You did not.
And people showed up
Other
and they
than
played.
Cine Express, actually.
Well, yes. I said, "Hey, Cine Express, do you mind if I bring like 30 people who are going to drink, have nachos, and play some
They're
games?"
like, they better buy something, but otherwise than that sounds good.
Yeah, we're going to buy pitchers. We're going to buy a lot of fucking pitchers.
Yeah, we got drunk. Yeah, that was.
And that's it. You know? We don't have to fucking get that approved by anybody. And you can always return to Monkey.
Man, 21 years of Smash Melee.
Let's see what happens.
It's been a totally smooth ride the whole time.
You know,
its whole life cycle has been just a wonderful, smooth ass experience.
If you can't, like, if the whole crossover with Evo, FGC, all that stuff like doesn't work out, and it does, like, when it didn't work out, and it was like, all right, these are separate events, but they've got their own healthy series of events, and you know, again, for the people who
are for Isn't the people, that what we're talking about right now?
They did. What I'm like, in other words, like when Smash and Evo didn't fucking work because of all the shit they did, and then a number of other crossover tournaments with Smash didn't work as well. There's a history of like ones where it's like they tried to fit Smash into a corner the same size as like other games when it's like, are you insane? The venue size can't take that, and nonsense of
They're just
whatever.
Trying to save on cleaning costs, man.
At some point, it was kind of made clear.
I heard that in your voice. I heard it. I heard that. I heard that. I heard it.
I'm saying at some point they kind of made it clear that it's like, whatever, Smash is just going to do its thing on its own, and there's enough people interested that they can do that. They can get their own sponsors, make their own big events, and be healthy as a community. And they kind of did for a while, but every time Nintendo decides to step in, it always fucking ends in tears.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. We'll wait for the update. We'll see where this goes next week. But for now, at the very least, Panda's on fucking shell, notice situation. Rough day for the people who were just kind of like trying to be sponsored players that made it, and that's all they were trying to do,
Hey, to the sponsored players who dropped out of Panda over this bullshit, I want to point out that you guys actually made the right decision, and it's particularly since you would then lose your sponsorship, it's a very difficult decision to make.
Fucking sucks, man.
So
it's so hard to get sponsored, dude.
They should definitely be lauded for putting their ethics first with this kind of thing. I don't know if I could have made that decision.
They're saying that they're working. The statement said that they're going to work with people who want to leave on landing somewhere, perhaps with another group or company or whatever. So that's part of what the statement said. We'll wait to hear from the players themselves what's going to happen. But it fucking sucks because of how hard it is to just get to that level. And when you finally get there, it's an accomplishment. It's genuinely I fucking did it. I got, the results. I worked super hard to be in the top 0.01%. That, not only because here's the thing, it's not just placement, right? If you destroy everyone in a game and you're top, like that does a lot for your profile and your
right.
You getting signed. But a big part of what they also want is you being a consistent streamer. They want you to be a content creator. They want to make sure that you have a personality that is fun to watch and that people want to tune into, so that you're not just a complete piece of shit who's ranking in top place, but you're actually someone who is now an entertaining internet person that people want to tune into as you also rank high. So it's very hard to do all those things, and the people who do, they earned it. Them walking away because of this type of shit. But it's also like the integrity thing, though. You have to consider this as well, especially for the people who are sponsored but smashers. Like that's your community on fire.
Yeah.
That's your events you want to go to. Like,
Hmm.
it's a bit more of a no-brainer when you're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck am I going to go
Yeah, I
to
don't want to
then?
be the. It's also like I don't want to be the pariah of this problem by sticking around.
Congrats, you're now first place at an event no one showed up to. Like,
Yeah.
if whatever, it's weird. The people that are peripherally not in the Smash community and are still getting burnt by it, like, that's just a call on integrity. So we'll wait for the updates.